we go. Round two. I realize I'm standing between everyone and freedom, so let's have some fun with this. I want to talk to you about the coolest thing I've ever done. Okay? Is that good? Is that selling that well? Okay, good. This is the Great American Turtle Chase. This is the coolest thing I could probably ever tell you about. It was 8 days across the entire continent, you know, the wide way, from Jacksonville, Florida to Los Angeles. That is not enough time to stop and see animals unless you're kind of crazy. And that's what we are. So, it all started with a conversation, text conversation. I know a lot of you are probably have the same sickness I do, so you probably have a lot of group texts that you're on with friends. One of those friends is in this room, hi Charlie. And other people in the group chat that I had that day, Carl May and Greg Brashear, who are very accomplished field guys. And those field herpers were having a discussion about Route 10, which actually goes through this part of the country, and how that cannonball run would be the coolest way to go and see some reptiles. And at the time, I was talking with some friends about China and Vietnam and being able to travel internationally to see turtles and how cool that would be, right? That's like the pinnacle. But I kept kind of feeling like, you know, I'm an American, obviously, uncultured American, and wouldn't it be great to see this country first? Because there's so many places I haven't been able to see from a turtle perspective, so many species I hadn't seen, and I'm not a field herper. I'm the guy who's like, yeah, I'm part of the turtle room, we do field stuff, and I show up and I visit the experts in the field who have been there like for a month, and they already have traps in the water, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. When's lunch? And I just get to check out for a couple hours. You know what I'm saying? That type of guy. So I like being in the field, but I'm not like a true 100% field person. I don't know if anyone else here, like that resonates for you. Maybe Tony, we talked about that. But yeah, I do enjoy it, and I enjoy it a lot more after this experience. So anyway, we talked about that, Cannonball Run. Now my wife isn't gonna let me go for like a month so we can actually stop and really smell the roses and find all the species out there. But we thought if we did the 8 days, wouldn't that make an interesting story? Wouldn't that make an interesting story? Because there's this juxtaposition between, okay, we need to keep our butts moving. Because if I don't make it to LAX in time, my wife will divorce me. But we need to also stop, because if we don't stop to see what's out there, we're gonna have problems. And it was last year at TTPG that I was just kind of talking to anyone who would listen about this big idea. We're gonna do this the following spring, which was actually this spring. So we're talking about just a couple months ago in April. And a gentleman by the name of Ronnie Hare. I call Chris Leone America's turtle sweetheart, and he really is. But for those of you that want the Turtle Man calendar, you know, like the sexy fireman calendar, Ronnie is the guy that you want on that calendar, right? Anyway, we'll get to that later, but anyway, Ronnie's so funny. I can never gauge it. I can now. Now I know Ronnie really well. But I could never really gauge because he's kind of like dry and kind of quiet and introverted, but he doesn't look like an introvert, you know? And sometimes he'll just say stuff and I'm like, are you messing with me, bro? Just say something like, I've got spots. Really? And you would really do this? Yeah. No, seriously, would you really do this? Yeah. And he meant every yeah. Every yeah was really a yes. And it took me a while to realize that. We were like texting each other, and he was totally in, but I was always finding myself being like, I can't tell. Anyway, so fast forward to when we're actually doing it, and I see this dude sitting next to me on the plane, and we get to talking. He's got calluses on his hands because he just finished a cannonball run. We flew from JFK to Jacksonville, and he lives in Jacksonville, and he, how the heck did he end up in, oh, because he lives in Connecticut or something, and in Jacksonville, whatever, but he had just driven his motorcycle across country, and they did it in like 41 hours. The guy who was leading his expedition, there were 3 of them, wore a diaper so that they didn't have to stop. You can't make this up. So I was like, man, I can't believe we're gonna do this in 8 days, that's crazy. And then this dude did it in 41 hours. So that's Chris Moran was his name, and we sat next to each other on the plane. And we had a seat open in between us, and that's why he's smiling and he likes me, because if we didn't, he wouldn't like me. People don't like me when they see me next to them on planes. Okay, hold on. this work?
Great clicker.
Is there sound now? There's no sound. So
Yeah.
it's okay, just look at it. Look, that's Ronnie. That's me. I was just drowning, almost. More on that later. Suwannee alligator snapping turtle. Yep. A lot of this is Florida, by the way. That's a manatee. That's not me, that's a manatee. I may get confused. One time I was doing some research and I think a family of manatees adopted me. They thought I was one of their own.
You go for the vegetarian diet.
Yep. Anyway, some cool clips. Now this is Texas.
Heck yeah.
Texas. Yep. Okay. Now there was supposed to be sound, and then those turtles tell you to subscribe. So if you want to do that, that's the QR code. Shameless plug. Listen, I'm really proud to say this. Between us, Chris Leone and I have over 500,000 YouTube subscribers. Thank you. It's a big deal. Listen, I started my YouTube last month, okay? And it sucks. No, I'm just kidding. It's good, but our subscribership is really bad. So if you could use your phone right now to go to that and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much. We got some good content out there about TTPG and everything. Okay. Shameless plug. I'm not scared. All right, so who are the players? You got Anthony the Unathletic Giant. That is actual footage of me being scared to walk down a concrete culvert in California. Kevin Pollack, the actual expert herper, okay? And then John is my best friend, and he's taller than I am. We played basketball together in college. I decided to get fat after that. He still looks like a basketball player, except he's bald. And Kevin Minto was supposed to come, but he's a quitter, so he had to drop out. So you end up with these three right here, okay? I love Kevin so much. But John and Kevin are both habitual last-minute droppers of the ball, okay? And I knew when they both said, I am in, no doubt. I was like, all right, hopefully we get one out of the two, and we did. So here's Florida. That's actual footage, not of a Sasquatch. That's me, guys. That's me. That's an Apalachicola, but we'll start. We have to start first. So we're really doing it. This is a group of some folks that we met with first. This is Jack Thompson, Wyatt Keel. That's me and Kevin. Interesting little tidbit. I mentioned Ronnie was there. Ronnie's huge. John's taller than I am. I'm really big, like embarrassingly big. And Jack is huge. He's like 6'5". So if you even add, all right, I'm gonna take Wyatt out of this just as an outlier, right? He's not. That's not good for data. So we'll take these three here. Even Kevin, who's only like he's like 6 feet or 6'1" or something. We're like taller than the starting lineup for the New Orleans Pelicans, if you count John and Ronnie in this. So we were some big herpers. Actually, we were at a hotel in Florida, and this was in the Panhandle, so they're like actually the southern United States, you know. And this woman looked at it, was like, "Where are y'all from?" And then John walks by behind me, and she's like, "That fella there looked like he had been 7 feet." It was great. It was great the things that people said about these weird, smelly, huge people that were hanging out. So that doesn't count. Basically, Kevin has rules. He is an experienced herper, and if any of you are, there are specific rules that you have when you are out in the field, right? It has to be alive. I'm like, come on, it's right here. You know, it could be hit by a car and still alive, and that counts. Like, that is horrible. You have to draw the line somewhere. Everything's gotta be black and white. I'm like, but there's nuance, you know? Anyway, you have to find it. So you can't show up and then like, look what we just found 15 seconds ago. It doesn't count. Now, if someone else outside of our group finds it, but we were like there and we saw how they found it, like, you know, we were there together and they just found it over here, that counts. So a whole bunch of different rules. Like, you guys think like this? You do this stuff? I don't know. Anyway, so this was a turtle that didn't count. We got to a research area, they pulled this out of a trap and they were putting a transmitter on it. Now, if we were there when they pulled it out of the trap, it would have counted. We were just that late to just miss it, so that didn't count. So I'm like, this is great. We want to count how many species we see, and obviously weren't able to count this beautiful Suwannee alligator snapping turtle. So, as part of all of this, we set an over-under, and we're not gamblers. Kevin came up with the numbers first. We're not gamblers. If you're a gambler, you know that an over-under is supposed to end at 0.5. Why? No tie. There's never a push, right? Somebody's gonna win, somebody's gonna lose. Okay, so these were flawed from the beginning, but here we go. Crocodilians, we're gonna see one, right? Fair? We weren't going down to the Everglades. We weren't gonna see American crocodiles. We're gonna see 2 salamanders. I know this is great, right? Really, really exciting. 2 salamanders. Frogs and toads, we thought maybe 10. We're gonna be doing a lot of road cruising. Lizards, we thought 8. We'll be going through the desert. There's gotta be stuff in the desert. Snakes, we'd see 7. And then turtles, we hope to see 13 different species. We have to keep this moving. We had to drive like between 5 and 8 hours every day. Probably more towards the 8-hour timeline because we wanted to stay off of Route 10 as much as we could.
What month was this?
What month? April.
April.
Yeah, thank you. And please, I encourage you to just yell at me. That was perfect. I love that. So we started at the Itutukmy Springs, and I had done some spring surveying in Florida before, and I'm like, you know what? It's cool. It's like, it's not that dangerous or whatever. I could just bop around in the springs, you know? I'm 7 feet tall, and you know, I could swim a little bit, I'm all right. I almost drowned the whole time. Before that happened, we saw a gopher tortoise, that was a good one. Only saw 1. So we have to move and cover ground. So with all these species where we just found 1, if we didn't find it, we'd be down that species. If it was something where you found 25 of them, you found 25, right? Anyway. So there you go. Okay, there's me drowning. I thought that was the next slide, I was out of order. Always wearing bracelets that my daughters make for me. But that's me mid-drowning. I'm really questioning all my life decisions, not just this one at this moment. Found a lot of loggerheads. I found exactly 0. I think we found around 25. Everyone was finding them. I couldn't. I was trying not to die. Like pink frothy sputum. I was down. It was gonna be bad. This was a picture for my daughter, this turtle. It says Maddie on the bottom, so that's me giving the I love you to my daughter for that photo. And then I have to tell you about this. So this is Ronnie, I mentioned. So, bless you. Listen, okay? Listen. I've known Ronnie for a long time. In the time that I have completely let myself go, physically, Ronnie has gone the exact opposite direction. When I met him, I wasn't like, wow, and maybe it's my standards have changed. I don't know. Maybe I'm more attracted to 6'6" men. I don't know, something, but God dang, oh my gosh. Anyway, he's working a 2-man canoe by himself like it's a paddleboard. He's catching turtles on top of his paddle. I am in the water with the turtles. There could be a turtle on a branch right in front of me. Literally, all I have to do is this, but I'm trying not to drown, so I can't get my arm up to grab a turtle. And he's like, look at this. And it's sitting on the paddle like he trained it for the last 2 months to be able to do it. Look at this. That's a 2-person canoe. So then, he's wearing jeans the whole time. This is crazy, right? So we got back to the hotel at the end of the night, just a little aside. He gets in the shower. We gave him first shower. Like, we're so grateful that he came out to join us or whatever. He takes a shower. He gets out. He puts on jeans to go to sleep. Jeans, no t-shirt to go to sleep. Clean ones. New jeans. It's just like his uniform, like how Steve Irwin wears like khakis. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyway, so next is Baba Yaga. So we saw this alligator, and then right after that, Ronnie, of course, who's like master splinter of herpers. He's like, and of course, I said he had like that dry, that like, no offense, Ronnie, but like that flat affect, right? Like, are you serious? Like, there's an alligator snapping turtle right here. We're like, really? And now because of that, because of the way that he talks, Jack, who's like, had fins on and is like an Olympic athlete, hesitated, but I was like, I'm going for it. And I like waddled, whatever it's called, sloshing, whatever it's called in the water, like still almost drowning. Like, this is my chance to catch a turtle. We've caught like 50 turtles, and I have caught 0, because I've been drowning the whole time. And I went over, and Jack and I, because he was so much faster, got there at the exact same time, even though I had a huge head start and was closer to begin with. And my big frame booty bumped him out of the way at just the last second. And I was able to be, really confident in grabbing the turtle, because I've handled a lot of alligator snapping turtles. So, point for the keeper, not scared of an alligator snapping turtle. So that was good. So this is Baba Yaga. She's like 100 years old. She is a legend in the springs where we found her. And she's blind, which is probably another reason why I was able to catch a turtle like that. True story, true story. But listen, you couldn't tell Jack that. Jack's been there, I'm not kidding, not exaggerating. He's screaming, Anthony! Like it's like Streetcar Named Desire, you know? And, thank you. And he's like, I've been here 60 times and I've never seen this turtle. I'm like, wow. He's like, Michael Skipstead's caught this turtle. And Greg's caught this turtle. I've never caught this turtle. Well, guess what? One for the good guys. Here we go. So that happened, got this cool underwater photo. This is all of us. There's John, 6'9". And I said gangly medium. He gets messages from dead people. It's not a joke, there's no punchline. He really does. Isn't that weird? Anyway, if there's any mediums in the audience, I respect you. I just, you know, I don't know what that's like, that's all. There's Kevin and his nipples, so it's not just Ronnie with his nipples out, Wyatt, Jack, and then yours truly. And then this is Baba Yaga, she's like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like someone's touching me, but I don't see it. Okay, so then we go on night cruise. When we got to the airport, John was like, night cruising is my favorite part of this trip. He had never been night cruising. He had no idea what the hell he was talking about. It was really funny. So we found a bunch of snakes, corn snakes, rat snakes, and eastern garter. And then John was bit by snakes a lot. So this is a rat snake biting John. He kind of looks like those wacky arm-wailing inflatable tube men that are like out in front of the car dealership. That guy. And snakes don't like it. They see him and they're really ready to bite when they see him. And he was all for it, but except when he ran sorry about this. Except when he ran after the cottonmouth, everyone had to yell at him. Thank you, Chris, you saved his life. So Apalachicola, this is a national forest. This is day 2, by the way. So we had a really, really long day. We started in like Queens, New York, at John's house at 4 a.m. and then ended with night cruising. It was like the longest day ever. This day was then 3 times worse in terms of how long of a day it was, but it was because we were having a great day. So it started though on not a great foot, obviously. So this is a Gulf Coast box turtle. If you know Gulf Coast box turtles, you know that the ones in the Apalachicola National Forest are awesome. They're the really beautiful ones. If you follow Chris's stuff, you see these ones with like blue and yellow and white heads and all of that. They are awesome turtles. And this is a national forest, which by the way is like totally altered by man. I'm like, I can't wait to see, you know, the wilds of the USA and these wild places, and with the exception of the Native American reservation here in Arizona, everything was altered by man, most of it extremely significantly, across the entire country. And we were avoiding Route 10 to try to be in the most wild places we could, and it was all altered. And the National Forest was no exception. Now there weren't many cars, but for some reason the box turtles were getting hit that day. So we're thinking, oh my gosh, we're not gonna find one. Gulf Coast box turtles were one of the things that like I really hope to see while we were out. But if you don't find them, you don't find them. So we found some eastern muds. We weren't sure exactly what that was for about a half a second, and then figured it out. That's Ronnie trying to get one to open its beak. I just had to share that because I wanted you guys to see him in a Spengler eye shirt. There's another pic. Oh, what is that? We got a live one. That's a red ear slider, that's right. You guys are gonna have to keep studying up here. There's a Gulf Coast box turtle that's alive. That was awesome because we were feeling like, oh my gosh, we're gonna leave this habitat and then that's it, right? So that was cool. A little bit of a closer photo. So then we get to, gosh, what river is that, Ronnie? It is the Apalachicola River. I was calling it, I was calling it the wrong thing. I knew that, because you helped me. So we get to the Apalachicola River, which is flooded, by the way, but we're gonna go and brave it anyway. And I'm so concerned that I'm gonna tip the canoe over, because now all 4 of us are gonna go in. I'm not floating in this river like I tried to do in the springs, especially after I almost drowned there. Now I'm thinking I'm gonna drown on the canoe this time. So. Anywho, we got some photos, we've got some eastern river cooters, and we've got some map turtles. What species of map turtle is that? Someone tell me?
Come on, Chris.
Yeah, Barber's, yeah. Barber's map with the huge head. So this is a male right here, and that's a female whose head is about the size of the male. That is awesome.
Probably knows the turtle.
We have these megacephalic female map turtles and one of the coolest things that I had known, because I'm friends with people like Chris Lekowitz and Steve Enders who really love map turtles, is that a lot of times these broadhead map turtles are sympatric with a narrowhead species. And they'll live in the same river, and they generally won't hybridize. They generally don't really hybridize in captivity either unless they get desperate, is my understanding. And I just thought it was really cool to be able to see them, like a real, true, wild specimen like that. It was just really cool. And then to help me feel better, there was this guy, oh my gosh, he was so sweet. I think John remarked that he needed Google Translate to figure out what he was saying because his accent was so thick. The Panhandle is something. And he told us about how just over yonder, some kid go in the water and his daddy went in to help him and neither of them come out. I'm like, awesome, awesome. Awesome, because I'm definitely over this 2-person canoes weight limit by myself. And I'm with big, strong Ronnie, who I trust, right? He's like, come with me if you want to live. We made it happen. So then we keep going. We're riding a high. It's dark out. We're like, we can keep doing this. Let's go. Like, we cross over into Alabama. We're playing Leonard Skinner. We're feeling it. Totally cliche. And we go to different spots. And then this just continues this crazy turtle blitz. We also saw a softshell turtle, a Gulf Coast softshell turtle at the last site too. I just want to throw them all at you so you know. So we get to this site, and we find intermediate musk turtle, we find Graptomys ernsti, the Escambia map turtle. Any map turtle nerds in the room, you just yell at me if I say anything wrong, because we saw a whole bunch of different map turtles. We also got to see Alabama red bellies, we got to see Cumberland sliders, all sorts of stuff. Oh, I put this picture in here because there was this mud in Apalachicola. It was raining, we were all over the road, and we drew, once we got into Alabama, we drew, it was like when we were crossing the border, and we didn't see any rain the entire time. So when we handed the car back in Los Angeles, this is what it looked like. It was absolutely amazing that we go through the entire country with the Florida mud on the car. That was really crazy. So anyway, this part of this turtle blitz, so this is a cooter that we found, a river cooter. This is a black knob sawback. That was a pretty cool species to be able to see. That's a Cumberland slider. That's an intermediate musk. That's pretty cool. I mean, come on. I found a crayfish there that kept bothering me. I wanted to see a turtle, so I took a buffalo chicken wing from dinner, and I put it in a little bag that really held my headlamp, and I put it in the water just off the shore. Like, this is perfect. And then there was this gravid, they're not pregnant because they have eggs, a gravid crayfish that just kept coming up to my bait, and I would get so excited because the bait would be moving after I left for like 20 minutes, and then I would open it, and she was like, yeah. It was really cool. So then we kept moving to Mississippi, and this was, I should say too, after this, it was about 4 a.m., and we went to sleep in a Walmart parking lot. It was in Alabama, but towards the Mississippi border, if I think. And then Ronnie was like, I just have one request. We're gonna go to Waffle House in the morning. Perfect, Waffle House, you got it, buddy. This was the most amazing day of my life. We're gonna go to Waffle House, sounds good. So we did. We slept for about 2 or 3 hours. I didn't sleep for a second because I don't fit in cars. And I stepped out in the morning when the sun was out, and stepped onto I'm sorry to do this because this is a family program, but I stepped onto a used condom to knock on Ronnie's window to tell him to wake up. And I'm like, this barefoot, because it was an old one. It was old. It was totally petrified. So it's not as bad. It's not as bad, but that literally happened. Like this. No, it was too far gone. It was too. Thank you. Such an idiot. Oh my gosh. So then we get to Mississippi. Okay, this is really cool. We get to Mississippi and we start looking for some stuff. So let me tell you what we found in Mississippi. And this is our last spot with Ronnie. That is not a Pleistocene box turtle. That's a marbled salamander. But this is what the name of this chapter in the story is, okay? So we find that, we find some little skinks and little brown lizards and stuff like that that I don't even know about. And we also find some basking turtles. So this is the first place where you get to see the broadhead and the narrowhead in the same place, okay? Now this river, we get to see Graptomys gibbonsii. How am I doing, Lekowitz? I appreciate you so much. Lekowitz gave me a thumbs up. It feels good. We also saw another species, anyone but Lekowitz who could tell me what narrow-headed species lives with that species.
Sabine?
No.
No?
Maybe somewhere that I don't know about. But what about where I would know? Anyway?
Eastern
The
Mississippi?
yellow blotched. The yellow blotch. That's a sexy map turtle, right? Everybody loves yellow blotch map turtles. So we saw those. That is not a yellow blotch map turtle. We were getting ready to leave. We were dying. We slept none. We had the 2 longest days of our lives and then didn't sleep in that Walmart parking lot. Waffle House was lovely. And we were looking for these box turtles. Now, rumor had it that there's these box turtles in Mississippi that get to be like 10 inches long. And we were about to leave because we were so tired. And then we heard in the distance a whistle. And we went running towards it. And it was Ronnie. And he had 2 Gulf Coast box turtles. And they were huge and they were freaking glorious. These are unlike any box turtles I had ever seen. They're not like your normal tan phase Louisiana box turtles. They're not like, you know, the Florida Gulf Coast box turtles. They're dark, kind of brown, kind of uniformly marked. They get really, really big. And yeah, I've been telling my friend Mehdi about these, who likes to try to describe species, but they were really unique. They weren't your tan phase, and wow, were they amazing. So we felt like we found something really cool. And when Ronnie first told me about these, he was like, they're Putnami, which is the now extinct Pleistocene box turtle that lived 10,000 years ago. Now, I didn't have any genetic, you know, apparatus that I could use to get some sort of sampling and whatever, and certainly didn't have any permits to do that either. But just wanted to take a peek at them and see if we could find something, and we did, and it was glorious. So maybe someone looks at them in the future. I don't know if they have in the past. You know, recent literature suggests that Putnami lives on within the extant box turtles that are still living. However, it's pretty cool to find something that's really big and really different. So these were pretty large. How large, Ronnie? 7, 8 inches? Closer to 8, right? Yeah. Anyway, after that, we said goodbye to Ronnie. He said, hey, who wants to go to I'm sorry, Ronnie. He said, I want to go to IHOP. I was like, Ronnie, I can't go to IHOP with you. And I had to say goodbye, and that was one of the most painful things I ever had to do in my life. And we left Ronnie right there in Mississippi, dejected, to go to IHOP by himself. Because we needed, I know, right? After everything you did for us, this is goodbye. So we had 2 things. This was the stupidest thing ever. These guys are the worst. I was all turtles all the time. John is like, I want to go to New Orleans and eat some food. I'm like, you've been to New Orleans before. I'm not here for food. I will eat anything. I'll eat garbage on the side of the street if we could keep moving and find another species. And then Kevin is like, yeah, well, you know, if we could just stop in Biloxi at the Hard Rock, because I collect Pilsner glasses. Like, I smell like I've lived in a swamp for the last year. Great. So here we are, so stupid. And then after that, we had to decide, okay, and we knew that this was going to have to happen. It was like Kevin's only request. So dumb. And we had one other place that a gentleman named Chris Drake, who's here in the audience, gave us, to potentially see Pearl River map turtles and Ocalifera, the ring map turtle. That's, again, another one of those situations where you have the broadhead and the narrowhead together in the same river, which is really cool. So they are in the Pearl River, but also in the Cheeto River, which is where we went. So we flew up there, and it's really hard to find basking species when the sun is low. So we thought we were getting there too late, and we really were pushing it. So you see us here, this is our shadows here that are being cast. It was really too late in the day to have a lot of success, but we were really, really hopeful, okay? So we walk up to this beach, and it's a beach where people can go and lay out. So there's a blanket, and there's like an umbrella, and there's a radio playing, but there's no one around. It was the most interesting, surreal moment, and the radio's playing. Now, as we walk up, we see turtles, and at that exact moment, Night Moves by Bob Seger comes on. The exact moment. It was unbelievable. And we got to see some turtles. And this is Kevin with his scope, so we always were able to ID everything really, really well and get a great look at things. There's the scope right there. And then that's what we were able to see. So these are ring map turtles, which are like so cool. I remember the first time I saw one, I was like, oh my gosh, that is just such a cool turtle. So we were able to see them in their wild habitat and like just before they plopped in the water, and that was it for the day for that location. So that was really, really cool. And what was awesome about this, even though we had Chris helping us, like Ronnie was holding our hand through a lot of things. Like Ronnie deserves all the credit for what we had done up to that point. But this was the first time we were kind of on our own and receiving help just from somebody who was kind of remote and just gave us a suggestion. We had to find it on our own.
Anthony,
Yeah.
what kind of spider was that?
Spider?
Go back.
To the left of the.
This?
Water spider.
That's not a spider.
You're right, it's a butterfly. It's a fishing spider.
Oh my God, it is a spider. What the hell do I know about a spider?
Your powers of observation can only be described as uncanny.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know about what I was presenting earlier. You think I know about a spider? No way. Sorry, that was a callback. I had to say it too. Next up, Louisiana. Louisiana's a lot of this. A very wet state. And all of that, again, so you're there and you're like, oh, this is so cool. As a turtle lover, there's just places where there's turtles everywhere. They're basking on like these different man-made things that are, projecting out over these man-made ponds. Everything's like rectangular, all these ponds everywhere. They're all trying to grow crawfish, crawdads, whatever they're called. And so again, you see it and you're like, this is awesome, we're gonna see some turtles. And then you realize it's all altered. This is where I start getting really frustrated because John keeps taking the front seat and he's a little bit of a birder. We're trying to road cruise everywhere we go across the country and this dude is looking in the sky. I swear to you, I could kill him. So this is really the main conflict in this story. But we start seeing a fan favorite, red-eared sliders. I'm very proud to say we didn't see any red-eared sliders till we got to their actual range in Louisiana. That was really cool. I expected to see a lot more than that. I was sad though that we didn't see a yellow belly slider while we were in northern Florida, that sort of thing. That's like a toothbrush thing, like a travel toothbrush, because we were literally just like turtle in one hand, brushing your teeth in the other. That's the type of trip it was. And then we get to the great state of Texas. This photo is representative. This is like what you're greeted with when you go, like when you just cross into Texas. Like, great, I can't wait to drive through 13 hours of that. Terrific. And that was really altered too. Dawson, do you have something to say?
That is not what Texas is.
Listen, buddy, okay? Listen, I'm sorry, say what you want about Connecticut, I can't fight you. I don't love it, but I live with it. This is Texas, we're looking for turtles, trying to drive in rural areas, and this is what we got. At least at the beginning, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. And then I met with Chris Drake, so it was cool. That's him. And it used to be is the name of this chapter because when we were out looking, Kevin accidentally, when we were road cruising, ran over a bullfrog. And he said, oh my gosh, that's a bullfrog. And then Chris said, it used to be. That was sad. It happens. So that was the one casualty that was caused by us. And honestly, I do lose sleep at night over that. It's not good. You can see there wasn't much.
Feel better by taking all the bullfrogs we have here back there.
We could replace the one that met its tragic end under the wheel of our minivan. It was covered in Florida dust, Florida mud. There wasn't much shaving going on either. So we got to see a bunch of snakes with Chris the first night. This is a broadband?
Intergrade.
An intergrade? Okay. See, this is why I ask. Intergrade, we're going to a whole level I can't understand with snakes. This is John getting bit by another snake. He's so stupid. So stupid. Oh my gosh. I guess the spirits didn't tell you to watch out for that one. Is this the decay snake? Rough earth? Oh, I put it in twice then, because that's a rough earth too, right? I put it in twice. Yeah. Yeah, so we found this at a gas station. We were absolutely crushing it through the eastern half of the country. We went to get gas and there was a rough earth snake under a board next to the gas pump. Stop it. We just kept checking off, and that's, you only find one. So when you find one, you get to add a species and keep moving. It was awesome. Anyway, then we get to Buffalo Bayou, which runs directly through Houston, which square miles wise is like the biggest city ever. It's big, right? I'm speaking erroneously, but it's really big. And this is actually a place where if you look it up, Google dead body found Buffalo Bayou, and you will find, it's kind of like when you research Florida Man and then your birthday, there's always a story. There's always a dead body in Buffalo Bayou. So Eric Muncher, who runs this program, and Chris Drake helps him on that program, actually says, you know, he probably has the alligator snappers where you can say these are man-eaters because there's so many bodies in Buffalo Bayou that they probably have eaten humans. More than once, probably, you know, a kind of seasonal delicacy that just kind of picks up. So we get here, we're pumped because we found the Suwannee alligator snapping turtle and we've got traps in the water. Deal with it. Right there, boom. However, Eric had the new guy set them up. They weren't set up right, and we did not get the alligator snapper that we wanted. I went in the water, I'm like, you know, can I do this? I went in with water shoes, they had waders. Like I'm gonna get a hypodermic needle in between the toes. So by the time they were coming back, I had just waddled my big self out to the spot where the trap was and then walked back after them. I helped 0, but at least I could say I went into Buffalo Bayou. And we did not find an alligator snapper, as I said, but we did catch a very large pallid soft shell, which was really cool. And ladies, like we're working really hard to make this not just a man event, okay? So I want to talk to you ladies for a second. Ladies, I want you to find yourself somebody who looks at you the way Kevin looks at this turtle. Pride in his eyes. That is love, right?
She's looking back at him.
I know. We're from 2 different worlds, it'll never work. I know. Oh, okay, so then we go, I hate telling this story in a way because I just feel like, and then this, so I know that that's tough for listening, last talk of it, but thank you. So anyway, we go to the spot where there's Mississippi map turtles. Yes, stink pots, all sorts of cool stuff. And I jumped in after a stink pot. It was awesome, and yeah, I'm really tall. It only came up to like here. It's perfect. So then we're getting real frustrated, like we're not gonna find a Mississippi map. Chris is like, Chris was frustrated. Chris is like the most even keel, nice guy. He was visibly frustrated because we were not finding a stink pot at first and then weren't finding Mississippi map. So I jump in for the stink pot, I'm all over it, feeling real good, but it's like the looming pressure to find a Mississippi map so we can keep moving across the country was looming large. And then we saw one. We're like, it looks like a map turtle, but it was a hatchling. It was really hard to see. It was out on like a little branch. So I jumped in just like I did for the stink pot, right? What could go wrong? This water was disgusting. And it was up to here. I had my cell phone in my pocket. It was so stupid. And because my big self, when I hit the water, the whole water, have you ever seen the video of the person who throws a big boulder in the water and it goes like boo before it goes psh? I made a big boo. And the turtle my hand was right on it, and when I hit the water, the turtle went like this, and it like hit the heel of my hand, you know? Anyway, so I didn't get it. There were diamondback water snakes. Holy heck, this isn't a rodeo? I'm such a snake expert. I'm a reptile person, okay? They're big. They're really big and really long and scary. Long and strong. Look at that thing. Oh my gosh. Anyway, saw sliders. We got to see our first snapping turtle. That butt is very familiar to me. I've seen that butt many times in Connecticut. It's a very common butt to see in Connecticut. There you go. There's the stink pot when I jumped in up to my knees. There you go. He was happy. Only found one stink pot. So when we're trying to build the numbers up, you got to keep moving. You might be out of stink pot country and then that's it. It seems it's a common turtle, but when there's such little amount of time, if you don't find it, that's it. You missed it. And you move across the country, you're out of their habitat. You're done. And there you go. There's the little son of a bee who ruined my cell phone. Came back out to bask again. But we ended up finding like 12 of these or something like that. So then we move on. We say goodbye to Chris Drake, and thank you, of course, and we move on to West Texas, which is a herper's paradise. Everyone talks about how amazing West Texas is. It's not amazing in April. I'm just gonna say that. It is impossible to pick a good time to go cross country in this country because what's good in April in Florida and Louisiana and Alabama is not good in West Texas. You wanna be there in like June, and for Arizona, you wanna be there in like August or what have you. So this is where stuff got interesting, not just because, you know, 14 feet of mans together in a twin bed or whatever that is. We got pulled over by the police.
Why is that one bed empty?
Yeah.
Somebody, he's not even laughing or smiling. He's just totally selling it, nailed it. Yeah, Kevin took the picture before he left. John and I know each other very well.
Apparently.
Very well. Can you tell I have a type? Tall men.
Looks like, right?
Tall men that get me. I get them, if you know what I mean. That's Kevin's bed. I'm not gonna make, Kevin and John just met, and like I've known John my whole life, basically. I'm like, let's just, it'll work. And it did. We were tired enough. We got pulled over twice on this trip, and this police officer was not impressed. We told him the whole story of what we were doing. We're headed to Comstock. The Comstock Inn is really big for herpers, and he's like, well, what's going on there? Well, we're herping. Not impressed at all. But didn't give us a ticket. We got pulled over twice and no tickets, so that's great. That's a win. So, I'm sorry, because this is where the chapter ends. So actually, we didn't technically say goodbye to Chris yet because we found an ornate box turtle. We were chatting while we were driving, and I was the one that spotted that. Take that, suckers. Unexperienced herper found that one, and it was beautiful. That was an awesome turtle. Awesome turtle. It's so small. So small.
West Texas?
No, that's still East Texas?
Yeah.
Thank you. Don't give them the exact location, okay? And then we went to a spot, so we had this beautiful Mexican lunch, and we overate because we were really excited to finally sit down for a meal. And then John and I got sick, but right before we had to use the most abysmal bathrooms that you've ever seen at this place that we were at, near this place that we were at, we got to see this turtle, in addition to some Texas cooters. What species is that?
Texas.
Not Versa.
Kegels.
Kegels. That's Kegels, man. How beautiful is that thing?
Wow.
Oh my gosh, so cool. And that, again, only saw one, and we thought, again, Chris was getting frustrated. He thought we wouldn't find anything because we weren't seeing any, and then this one just popped up, and we were able to see it and check the box and move on. It's pretty cool. There's the Comstock. Okay, so then we get to New Mexico. Chris is gone, Ronnie's long gone, and we learned that we have to appreciate the scenery because we're not finding reptiles anymore. This is where the story gets sad. Does anyone know what river that is? Austin? Austin's not here. Thanks a lot, Austin, for your support. That is the mighty Rio Grande. The mighty Rio. Let me tell you something. You guys don't have water in the West. Did you know that? I mean, I knew that too, but it's just like the broadhead and the narrowhead map turtles. You know it, but when you see it, it sticks with you. In New Mexico, we're driving over bridges, huge bridges that go over, and there's a sign that says the blah, blah, blah river, and there's not a speck of water anywhere. There is no river. So at least the Rio Grande has water. This is me standing at the mighty Rio Grande. Crazy, right? And we're looking for turtles. Yeah, so that was tough, and then we stopped seeing everything. We thought, well, we'll see some snakes, we'll road cruise, we'll see some lizards, it's West Texas. We weren't seeing anything. So then we were like, all right, we need to go all in, and we're gonna go to New Mexico to find a specific species. What was it?
Big Ben slider.
Not the Big Ben slider.
Gorzugai.
Gorzugai, the Rio Grande cooter. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we drove there, this is the habitat. We got set up, and he said, Anthony, do sliders have red on the bridge? I said, nope, those are Gorzugai. So we got to see them, which was awesome. And this was the first thing that we found that was like, we found that. There was no Chris Drake letting us know, go to this place to see those, or Ronnie literally holding our hands. We did hold hands, and showing us. He didn't want to, but I was real excited that he was there. So it was awesome. This was the first species I ever had mailed to my house, and I love that turtle. So to be able to actually go and see them in their wild habitat was so cool. And that's the thing too, like I'm not a herper. Being able to do this and connect the dots on so many things that I know so well from a captive standpoint was really amazing. So then we go to Arizona and things get worse. Not because of the company, okay? Not because of the company, because we hang out with Grayson, Michael Skipstead, we were talking to him about California because he's really knowledgeable about California stuff. And we're like, yeah, we're going to Arizona next. Hopefully we don't get skunked. We found a turtle species in every state that we've been in because of New Mexico and that Gorzu guy. Thank goodness, saved by the Gorzu guy. Now we're going to Arizona. We're going to find some Sonoran muds. We're going to find some Sonoran desert tortoises. And he's like, hey, I'm going to set you up with my friend Grayson. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome, cool. Grayson, that sounds great. He's going to meet us on like no notice? He's like, yeah, no problem. So he sends me his contact, and it comes, and it says Grayson Offerman. I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like half dead from all the travel. And I show up, and I don't even know that it's Cord's son, who I met at TTPG. His name is literally Grayson Offerman in my phone, and I'm like, oh. And it wasn't until he showed up that I was like, wait a minute, I'm an idiot. So this was also happening on the day of the eclipse. So we're under the eclipse, which is ruining the sun that should bring the reptiles out. It's darker than usual, and there's people everywhere. Oh, so frustrating. So this is actually, Grayson was the only one who was organized and thoughtful and actually brought a pair of eclipse glasses, which I used to take this photo through the glasses. But the rest of us were just like, oh. I'm not going to get political about that. I saw someone else do that. There he is, there's Grayson, right after I realized who he was. And we're just walking and walking, and then we get into that pool. Skip says like, dude, if there's water, there's turtles. You got this. I got there, I'm like, there's water, but it's kind of rushing. And let me tell you something. I've done a lot of field work up where I am for like wood turtles and stuff like that. And people laugh at me because like, I don't really do waders. I'm too big for waders. I have size 18 shoe. Like, find me waders that don't cost $1,000 and I'll try them. So I don't have waders. I'll go out in hiking boots and shorts in April or March or November in the cold north looking for wood turtles. I have never been colder in water than I was here in Arizona, ever. We had to noodle for it was the mountain runoff or whatever, but we had to noodle for these turtles, and we really worked hard. We really did.
Where's that at?
Look how I kind of look like a snack in this photo. What do you think? Look out, I'm on that calendar too, bro. And Grayson was amazing. He was really trying to help getting in there. KP and John really didn't. And I'm like, I can't do it. We got to do it for the story. We got to do it for the story. And we didn't find it, unfortunately. Not for a lack of trying. How long were we in the water for? Felt like 2.5 years.
How long were you in the water? How long was I in the water?
I didn't get out. Damn. You come up here and get a little jokey, and then people just come right for your throat. Oh, we were boys, Grayson. Man. I don't know. I felt like it was a long time.
It was.
It was longer than I wanted it to be. It hurt, and then it kept hurting. Here's Kevin on a rock helping out. Thanks, Kevin. Don't get wet. We found a canyon tree frog. That was cool. I'll take a consolation prize. It's not a turtle. Okay. We keep looking, we keep walking. Now we're going for the desert tortoises. Didn't find them. And then we move on and say goodbye to our friend Grayson, who was amazing and deserved to find more with us than we did. So we go to California, and our lack of luck continues. We're at Joshua Tree. And we do find 2 lifers for KP, but they're not turtles. So we find that chuckwalla, which ran away from us. That's a cool one, right? Now, I don't know about reptiles. I know about turtles. So when Kevin gets excited about a reptile, I know we found something cool. He was very excited about the chuckwalla. So that was within Joshua Tree. Yeah. We go to an amazing spot that I've been to before to look for actinemes, the southwestern pond turtle in this location. This is kind of south of LA County. And I find a freaking common snapping turtle. Great. It's the fattest common snapping turtle I've ever seen in my life because it's like eating for 12 months of the year. Terrific. Great. So there we go. But Kevin's not mad when he comes around the corner, and we find out that he has a California king snake in his backpack. So that was cool. I was playing with the snapping turtle, and he found another lifer. It was a really pretty one. It's like brown and yellow. It's kind of unique colors, I guess. So that was cool. Again, he was happy. I'll take the consolation prize. If Kevin's happy, I'm happy, even though we're not finding the turtles that we really wanted. And I should also say, Joshua Tree, we were going for desert tortoises there too, and got skunked again. So there were 2 desert tortoise species that we missed out there in the west. So then after that, our last site, and we picked this one on purpose, and this is kind of why I wanted to go cross country, because this place, you're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. These are concrete culverts. How am I doing on time? Whatever, doesn't matter, we're not hungry, and then we go to dinner. You know in Greece when they race in those concrete culvert type things? Or even better, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Oh my God, yes.
We're gone in 6 to 7.
Yes. When Arnold has got John Connor on the back of the bike and he's running away from T-1000 and they're in those concrete culverts around LA, that's where we were. And there's a homeless, whole population, like a tent community of homeless folks, and this nasty water comes out here from the culvert. It's got like this nasty lime green sludge. It's like radioactive stuff you'd see in The Simpsons. And it comes and it empties out into this man-made, rocky, brackish canal, right? What do you think I'm gonna find in there? Dude.
Used condoms.
Dude. I made that bet. I'm okay with lying in it. Unintended. First thing we find is a wonderful collection of shopping carts. Found shopping carts everywhere. At the last site, some high school kids got out and they threw a shopping cart down into the river, into the canal at me. I was like looking up and then they threw a shopping cart. What do you do? What do you do in that situation?
Throw it back, kill him.
You can't throw, I can't throw it back. I'm not Ronnie. I don't have superhuman strength. So I'm down there and I'm up to here in this nasty water. Like, I would have made fun of me too. I was a high schooler once. I would have made fun of me. Anyway, there's shopping carts. There's a theme, right? Man has totally altered all of these places, and then also the cherry on top everywhere we went was shopping carts. And this was like a culmination. There's shopping carts everywhere. And there's sea turtles. We saw tons of sea turtles. But hold on, because I want to tell you about this, okay? And this is why this is the thing of dreams. Tell me if you, raise your hand if this sounds familiar to you. Have you ever been out herping or working with turtles a lot or something, and then you go to sleep and you have a dream about turtles, but there's always something off. There's something just surreal enough to be like, dude, that was a weird dream. It was like, it wasn't that weird because I was like playing with turtles and there were turtles everywhere. That's kind of like life. But it was like I was in the field and I was looking at spotted turtles, but they were all albino. So I knew I had to wake up, right? These sea turtles, and there were about 25, were swimming around with red-eared sliders. Red-eared all over. There were about 25 sea turtles, about 12 red-eared sliders.
Like turtle inception.
Right, turtle inception. How does that happen? I don't know. It's like they almost
Brackish.
Yeah, it had to be brackish. I mean, but it has. So why are the sea turtles there? So where this leaks, where this green nasty sludge comes, they come up. This is like low tide. I feel like in this picture-ish, but they come up into here where this is emptying into there, and they eat that nasty sludge. It's like runoff from like people washing their cars. There's no water out there, and it's very little amount of water that's going in, and it's nasty. But they're coming up and eating the stuff. And there's a lot of them. I mean, they're everywhere. And if you've ever observed sea turtles, like in a situation like this, they come up to breathe a lot. Like they breathe every couple seconds, which is interesting. So you just see this constant peppering of these green sea turtle heads popping up out of the water. It's amazing. And that's why I thought, okay, this is a story. This is something I want to try to do. Hopefully we don't, get skunked throughout the whole desert, which happened unfortunately. We still had an amazing trip, thanks to Ronnie and Chris, basically. And then it ended with this amazing, surreal sight at the end.
How far from the ocean were you?
I don't know, but not far at all. I mean, it's not like right there, but it was coastal. It was coastal California. This is now LA County. This is LA. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger on the Harley. Pretty crazy. So then we get back to reality. We give the van back. It's still got our drawings from Apalachicola. And then somebody in Queens, where we parked Kevin's car, broke his window. Oh my God. John was like, no, it's fine. You could park right in my neighborhood. Just pick me up. It's not a big deal. He's got a business card from a detective on his windshield. When you're here, call me. Great. It's apparently some kids with a BB gun. They didn't even steal anything. They just broke windows for fun. Like, we were so tired. Like, we weren't even talking at that point. We were together for like 4 hours and didn't talk. We were just like this. Like where your teeth don't touch inside your mouth, but your lips are closed. Anyway, so that happened. So anyway, what was the actual over and under, the outcome? Let me wrap this up for you. So, we said we were gonna see one crocodilian. Nailed it.
That was easy.
I know. It's almost like we're clairvoyant. It's almost like we had a medium in our group. Next up, salamanders. We said we were going to see 2. Right on. 2 salamanders. I know this is groundbreaking stuff, guys. I know. Frogs and toads. We said we were going to see 10. We saw 5. Wow. Lame.
That include the bullfrog?
That included the bullfrog because we did see live ones, and technically we did see that before it got squished. Kevin's rules, not mine. Kevin's rules. We thought we'd see 8 lizards. We saw 10. Not bad, considering West Texas and the desert was not kind to us. Snakes, we thought we'd see 7. We saw 9. Okay, we're doing pretty well, right? Not too bad. And then turtles, we thought we'd see 13, and we saw 27 different taxa. Thank you. So that was really awesome. And obviously we were, prioritizing that. Yeah.
Did you lose weight on the trip?
Did I lose weight?
Yeah.
Do I look like I lost weight on the trip? I don't know. It's a good question. I wasn't weighing I don't weigh myself if I'm not in a good place. You know what I mean, Mark? So total species, 59 different taxa, 413 reptiles total. So December 1st, I know, this is crazy. This has been the most surreal year of my life. I've been a part of the finishing because I'm not going to take credit. Russ, it's okay. Russ gets sensitive. 3 books this year. 3 books, and have produced more animals than I could ever imagine. The most I ever produced in a year. Thank you. The most I'd ever produced in a year was 72 hatchlings, and I'm at. It's only good because he swore himself. I have a chance. I'm like 13 under 200 right now. I'm like 187 produced this, which is cool because I work with a lot of stuff that's real low fecundity. Spider tortoises, Thangleri, japonica, stuff that doesn't produce a lot of young. So that's really cool. And I've got 20 more eggs going or something. So I'm trying to hit 200. But mostly the writing. So anyway, this book comes out December 1st. If you'd like to see, it's available for pre-order on Amazon. If you want the ebook, but December 1st it'll be available where you can actually go and get a paperback. And don't get the hardcover; it's so stupidly priced because of printing. But the paperback is still affordable. So I just tried to take the quick hitters and throw them out here for you guys, just to kind of share this with you because I just thought it was the most epic trip. And there's just something about before we went, with my daughters, I was watching Wild America, the Jonathan Taylor Thomas movie from the 90s. You guys know what I'm talking about? And I was getting so excited for the trip, and this lived up to it and so much more. Again, I've now been able to see the country in a really unique way because of turtles, which is really cool. And now I feel like maybe I'm ready to travel the world a little bit more, but also I think we set up a really cool framework to have that pressure to keep things moving, to make the trip doable because it's only 8 days, and also have numbers here that anyone in this room can go out and try to beat. So that could be really cool. And just as another aside, we're talking about for a next one, maybe starting in Central Texas, going across to Florida, and then up to Connecticut and hitting all those eastern states, because that would be better for the spring, and then also would probably beat our numbers and is a very comparable amount of distance. The other thing I learned that I never knew, Texas, with their beautiful flaming smokestacks and oil derricks and steers. I'm sorry, the Texas people are gonna gang up and beat the crap out of me. When you drive across the country the long way, like Route 10, the country before Texas, from the coast to Texas, is 13 hours. The country from Texas to LA to the coast is 13 hours. Texas is 13 hours, for a grand total of 39 hours. That's if you're driving highway the whole time, and we didn't. So we probably drove 55 hours or something obnoxious. But anyway, it was really cool, and thanks for letting me talk to you about it.
Subscribe.